Have you ever felt your mind go completely blank when everything around you becomes stressful?
Maybe your boss asks for something at the last minute, several coworkers need your help at the same time, or a deadline is getting closer and closer.
Even if you know English well, working under pressure can make it much harder to find the right words.
You're definitely not alone. Pressure is something everyone experiences, especially at work.
The good news is that learning how native speakers talk about stressful situations can help you stay calm and communicate more naturally, even when things don't go according to plan.
In today's conversation, we're going to explore what it's really like to work under pressure. You'll hear useful vocabulary, natural expressions, and realistic conversations that people have every day in the workplace. All right, let's jump into today's conversation.
Leo, can I ask you something?
Of course, what's on your mind?
Do you work well under pressure?
That's an interesting question. I think I do now, but honestly, that wasn't always true. A few years ago, whenever work became stressful, I felt overwhelmed almost immediately.
Really? That's surprising because you always seem calm.
I appreciate that. The funny thing is that staying calm took a lot of practice. From the outside, people only see the final result. They don't see all the mistakes, the sleepless nights, or the moments when you wonder if you're going to finish everything on time.
I can definitely relate to that. Sometimes people assume confident employees never feel stressed, but that's rarely true.
Exactly. Everyone feels pressure. The difference is often how they respond to it.
I completely agree. Pressure itself isn't always the problem. Sometimes it's the way we think about pressure that makes the situation even more difficult.
That's a great point. When I first started working, every email felt urgent. Every meeting seemed important. If someone sent me a message asking for help, I thought I had to answer immediately.
That sounds exhausting.
It really was. I spent most of my day reacting instead of planning. At the end of every afternoon, I felt busy, but somehow I hadn't finished my most important work.
I think many people experience that, especially when they're starting a new job.
Absolutely. New employees often want to prove themselves. They don't want to disappoint anyone, so they say yes to almost everything.
And before they realize it, their schedule becomes impossible to manage.
Exactly.
There's actually a useful expression here, to feel overwhelmed.
That's a great one.
If you feel overwhelmed, it means you have so many responsibilities, emotions, or problems that you don't know where to begin.
For example, you could say, I felt overwhelmed because I had 5 different projects due this week.
Or, she looked overwhelmed after receiving several last-minute requests.
You'll hear this expression quite often in professional conversations.
So, Leo, what changed for you?
I learned something that completely changed how I approach work.
What was it?
Not everything is equally important.
That sounds simple, but it's actually very powerful.
It is. I used to think every task deserved the same level of attention. Now I ask myself a few questions before I begin working.
Like what?
First, what absolutely has to be finished today? Second, what can wait till tomorrow? Third, what can someone else help me with?
Delegating work can be difficult for many people.
Definitely. Some people think asking for help is a sign of weakness.
But in reality, strong teams depend on cooperation.
Exactly. One person can't do everything alone.
Have you ever had a deadline that seemed impossible?
Oh, many times.
Tell me about one.
I remember working on a project that normally required about 3 weeks to complete.
Okay.
Late one Monday afternoon, my manager came to my desk and said, our client needs everything by Friday.
Only 4 days?
That's right.
What was your first reaction?
Honestly,
Of course.
I thought there's absolutely no way we're going to finish this.
I think that's a very natural reaction.
It was, but after those first few minutes, I realized worrying wasn't going to solve anything.
So what did you do?
I called a quick meeting with the team.
Good idea.
Instead of talking about how impossible the deadline was, we focused on what we could actually control.
That's an important mindset.
We divided the project into smaller pieces.
That usually makes a big difference.
It really does. When a project feels enormous, it's easy to panic, but when you divide it into smaller tasks, each step feels manageable.
That's excellent advice, not just for work, but for learning English too.
Exactly.
Sometimes students look at becoming fluent as one huge goal.
Which can feel overwhelming.
But if they focus on learning a few new words today, practicing one conversation tomorrow, and speaking a little every day, the progress becomes much more realistic.
I couldn't agree more.
Back to your project. Did your team finish everything on time?
Believe it or not, we did.
That's impressive.
It wasn't perfect, but it was high-quality work.
Did everyone stay calm?
Not at first.
I can imagine.
One teammate became frustrated because another department hadn't finished their part yet.
That happens quite often in large companies.
It does. Sometimes your progress depends on other people.
Which can be stressful because it's outside your control.
Exactly.
How did you handle that situation?
Instead of blaming anyone, we contacted the other department and asked a simple question.
What did you ask?
We said, is there anything we can do to help you finish your your part more quickly.
That's a much better approach than getting angry.
It changed the entire conversation.
Why do you think that happened?
Because people usually respond better when they feel supported instead of criticized.
That's true in almost every situation.
It also reminded us that everyone was under pressure, not just our team.
That's an easy thing to forget.
Very easy.
Sometimes we're so focused on our own stress that we don't realize everyone around us is dealing with challenges too.
Exactly.
Can I ask you something else?
Sure.
Do you think pressure is always a bad thing?
Actually, no.
Really?
A small amount of pressure can actually improve performance.
Interesting.
If I have no deadline at all, I sometimes procrastinate.
That's a great vocabulary word.
It is.
To procrastinate means to delay doing something that you should be doing.
For example, instead of starting an important report today, you spend an hour organizing your desk or checking social media.
Exactly.
Pressure can motivate us, but too much pressure can reduce our ability to think clearly.
It's all about finding the right balance.
I think so.
Can you repeat that last sentence a little more slowly?
Of course, pressure can motivate us, but too much pressure can reduce our ability to think clearly.
Thank you. That's a useful sentence for our viewers to practice.
You're welcome.
One thing I've noticed is that experienced professionals don't necessarily work faster than everyone else.
That's true.
Many of them simply make better decisions under pressure.
I completely agree. Instead of rushing, they pause for a moment, organize their thoughts, and then take action.
That small pause can actually save a lot of time later.
Absolutely.
Rather than fixing mistakes caused by panic, they spend a minute making a good plan first.
And that's often the difference between feeling busy and being productive.
I like that distinction.
Me too.
Speaking of productivity, have you developed any personal habits that help you stay calm during stressful days?
Yes, several actually. Over time, I realized that staying calm isn't something that just happens. It's a habit that you build little by little.
One thing that helps me a lot is planning my day before I start working instead of reacting to every new message that appears. That sounds like a simple habit, but I imagine it makes a big difference.
It really does. Every morning, I spend about 10 minutes deciding what my priorities are. Once I know what's most important, it's much easier to stay focused even if unexpected things happen later.
Unexpected situations are almost guaranteed in most jobs.
Exactly. No matter how carefully you plan, something usually changes.
A meeting gets moved.
A client changes their mind.
A coworker needs your help.
Or your manager asks for something urgent that wasn't part of your original plan.
That happens quite often.
It does. And I've learned that flexibility is just as important as organization.
I like that word, flexibility.
Me too.
Flexibility means being able to adapt when circumstances change instead of becoming frustrated.
For example, you could say the project changed several times, so we had to remain flexible.
Or good employees are usually flexible when unexpected challenges appear.
That's a great example.
Do you think technology has made working under pressure easier or more difficult?
Honestly, I think it's a little of both.
How so?
Technology helps us communicate faster than ever before. We can share documents instantly, schedule meetings in seconds, and collaborate with people who live on the other side of the world.
Those are huge advantages.
They are, but there's another side to it.
What do you mean?
Sometimes we're connected all the time. Emails arrive constantly. Chat messages never seem to stop. Notifications appear every few minutes.
It's easy to feel like you're expected to respond immediately.
Exactly.
But that's not always realistic.
No, it isn't.
Have you ever felt guilty for not replying to a message right away?
Absolutely. Earlier in my career, if someone sent me a message during lunch, I would answer before I even finished eating.
Really?
Every single time.
What changed?
I realized something.
What's that?
Being constantly available doesn't necessarily make you more productive.
That's an interesting perspective.
Sometimes it actually has the opposite effect because you're constantly interrupting your own work.
That makes sense.
Imagine you're writing an important report.
Okay.
Every 5 minutes, a new notification appears.
That would make it difficult to concentrate.
Exactly. Instead of working deeply for an hour, you're switching your attention every few minutes.
And each interruption makes it harder to return to the original task.
That's right.
Have you ever experienced burnout?
Fortunately, not completely, but I came very close once.
Would you mind telling us about it?
Not at all. A few years ago, I accepted every opportunity that came my way. I volunteered for extra projects, joined additional meetings, worked late almost every evening, and even answered emails during weekends.
That sounds exhausting.
At first, I thought I was being dedicated.
Many people probably admired your commitment.
Some did.
So when did you realize something wasn't right? One morning, I woke up feeling tired before the day had even started.
That's never a good sign.
No, I wasn't excited about work anymore. Even simple tasks felt difficult.
That's when you decided something had to change.
Exactly.
For anyone watching who doesn't know the word burnout, it's a useful workplace term.
Definitely.
Burnout is a state of physical and emotional exhaustion caused by long periods of stress or overwork.
You might hear someone say, after working 12-hour days for months, she experienced burnout.
Or, our company is trying to prevent burnout by encouraging employees to take vacations.
It's an important topic because many professionals experience it at some point.
What helped you recover?
Several things. First, I started setting healthier boundaries.
Boundaries are important.
Very important.
Could you explain what you mean by boundaries?
Sure, a boundary is a limit that protects your time, energy, or well-being.
That's a wonderful explanation.
For example, unless there's an emergency, I usually don't check work emails late at night anymore.
That must have improved your work-life balance.
It definitely did.
Another thing that seems helpful is communicating honestly with your manager.
Absolutely. Many employees are afraid to admit when they have too much work.
Why do you think that is?
Some people worry they'll appear less capable.
But asking for support isn't the same as being incapable.
Exactly. In fact, good managers usually appreciate honesty.
Instead of waiting until the deadline passes.
That's right. If you tell your manager early that you're facing challenges, there's often time to adjust priorities or provide additional help.
Communication really is one of the most valuable workplace skills.
I completely agree.
Let's imagine a situation. Suppose your manager gives you 3 urgent tasks, but realistically, you only have enough time to finish 1 today. What would you say?
I would probably say something like this. I'd be happy to work on these tasks. Based on today's schedule, I believe I can complete one of them before the end of the day. Which one would you like me to prioritize?
That's such a professional response.
Thank you.
Instead of simply saying, I can't do it, you're asking for guidance.
Exactly. You're showing that you're committed while also being realistic.
That's a communication skill every professional can benefit from.
I think so too.
Here's another situation. Imagine a coworker asks for your help, but you're already very busy. How would you respond politely?
I'd probably say, I'd really like to help you. I'm finishing something important at the moment. Could we look at it together in about 30 minutes?
That's polite, respectful, and honest.
It also sets clear expectations.
Many English learners worry that saying no sounds rude.
But saying no politely is often better than saying yes and not being able to deliver.
That's excellent advice.
Thank you.
Let's talk about confidence for a moment. Do you think confidence comes before experience or after experience?
That's a great question. Personally, I think confidence grows from experience.
I agree.
Every difficult project teaches you something. Every mistake teaches you something. Every deadline you survive makes the next one feel a little less intimidating.
I love that way of looking at it.
When you're new, pressure feels enormous because everything is unfamiliar.
But after you've solved similar problems several times,
You begin trusting yourself.
that's true. You realize you've handled difficult situations before, so you can probably handle this one too.
Exactly.
I think that idea also applies to learning English.
Absolutely. The first conversation in English can feel terrifying.
You worry about grammar.
You worry about pronunciation.
You worry about making mistakes.
You worry about making mistakes.
But after enough practice, you discover something interesting.
What's that?
Most conversations don't require perfect English. They require clear communication.
That's such an encouraging message.
Native speakers make mistakes too. They pause, they forget words, they ask people to repeat themselves.
Speaking of that, here's another useful phrase. If someone speaks too quickly at work, you can politely say, "Could you repeat that, please?"
Or, could you say that a little more slowly?
You can also say, "I just want to make sure I understood correctly."
Those expressions sound professional in almost every workplace.
Before we finish today's conversation, I'd like to ask one final question. If you could give one piece of advice to someone who's just starting a new job and feels nervous about working under pressure, what would it be?
I'd say this. Don't expect yourself to know everything on the first day. Ask questions, take notes, stay curious. Focus on learning instead of trying to be perfect. Little by little, your confidence will grow.
That's wonderful advice. Mine would be to remember that everyone started as a beginner.
Even the most experienced professional was once the new employee asking lots of questions.
Exactly. No one becomes confident overnight. Confidence is built one conversation, one challenge, and one success at a time.
And sometimes one mistake at a time, too.
That's very true. Mistakes aren't the opposite of success. They're often part of the journey toward success.
I couldn't agree more. And that brings us to the end of today's conversation. We hope this discussion helped you feel more confident talking about pressure, deadlines, teamwork, and professional communication in English.
If you learned something new today, we'd really appreciate it if you gave this video a like and subscribed to English Talk.
And we'd love to hear from you. Tell us in the comments, how do you stay calm when you're under pressure at work or school? It's a great way to practice your English while sharing ideas with learners from around the world.
Thank you so much for spending time with us today. Keep practicing, keep believing in yourself, and remember that every conversation brings you one step closer to speaking English with confidence.
We'll see you again very soon here on English Talk. Take care, keep learning, and have a wonderful day.
Goodbye, everyone, and happy learning!